Hello people, hope you enjoyed that video that you just saw. That was actually something that I shot not too long ago with one of my friends, and the reason I shot it is because a company by the name of Dehancer was actually kind enough to let me test out one of their products to use. If you've never heard of Dehancer before, they're actually a company that makes a film emulation plugin for video softwares like Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, or Final Cut Pro. So today, I'm going to take you guys along with me into the editing experience that I had with Dehancer and show you just exactly how I crafted the look I did in the video that you all just saw. So all the footage in that edit that you just saw was shot on my Sony a6400 along with my Sigma 16mm f1.4. And in terms of picture profile, I did shoot the whole thing in S-Log2, picture profile 7 to be exact, with no modifications. I did also have a Tiffen Black Promise filter on the lens as well as an ND filter, but yeah, that's about it in terms of gear and specs. I should let you guys all know that Dehancer did provide me with their product in order to test out for the video, but they had no influence in whether or not I give a positive or negative review within this video. Also, another big disclaimer for you guys, I am not a professional colorist by any means. I simply edit the video until I feel like it looks good, and then I call it a day. Alright, so let's jump right into DaVinci Resolve. As you can see, I am working with a 3-node structure here, with Dehancer Pro on the last node. But before we dabble into that, I think I should mention to you what I have within the first 2 nodes. As you know, as I've mentioned, I did shoot the footage in S-Log2. So on the first node here, I do have a Rec 709 conversion LUT. And on the second node here, I have just some basic exposure adjustments, as you can see down here in the corner. So yeah, that's kind of the basis for my footage before jumping into Dehancer. Alright, so as you can see, I do have Dehancer Pro on this final node here in the structure. And this is what the image looks like without Dehancer enabled with the settings I've applied. And this is what it looks like with it on. As you can see, quite a massive difference with the Dehancer. So we're going to jump right into the Dehancer settings that I use and tweak in order to get the image that I did. Starting off with the input, as you can tell, I did mention that I did convert the image into a Rec 709 image with a standard neutral LUT. So that's what I put here as the source, Rec 709. Next we have the film developer. Now I didn't tweak this setting too much, I just boosted the contrast up a little bit up to 14, and that was enough for me to be satisfied with the image. Moving on to the film stock of choice, I did do some experimenting here with the other options that Dehancer has available, but ultimately I decided to settle on Kodak Portra 800. Next, moving on to the film compression. Funny enough, I actually like the way that these numbers performed out of the gate. I didn't really tweak the film compression that much. As you can tell in this clip, it works just as good as I think I'd want it to. Next, we're going to jump all the way down to the film grain here. And within Dehancer, they actually do have these custom-made settings that emulate 8mm film, 16mm film, etc, etc. But I opted in to try the custom format, just because I felt like I wanted to have a bit more fine-grained film, so I brought the size down to about 8. So right below the film grain setting, we have the halation option, which if you don't know, halation refers to the red glow you get around the highlights of a film image. And as you can tell right here, I did opt in for one of the pre-made settings that Dehancer offers. I did try to use the custom settings, but I couldn't really tweak in and dial in the look I was going for exactly. But I did find that the 35mm option here got me exactly what I was looking for, and I think it looks just fine. Next we have the bloom option here. Now bloom refers to the blooming and diffusion of the highlights within an image. And once again, I did opt in for one of the pre-made settings here, going with the 8mm. And that's just about it in terms of my tweaks for this footage with Dehancer. I did choose not to go with film damage or film breath. I felt like it would be a bit too much for the footage I had. And I think it looks just fine the way it is right now. So yeah, this is basically a general overlook on the color grade I did within all the clips in this video. There are a few tweaks between some clips within the video depending on the conditions of the lighting and situation, but overall this is sort of the general color grade I did for all the clips within this video. Now personally, after using Dehancer myself and testing it out on my own footage, I actually did enjoy the experience of using Dehancer, especially for someone like myself who's not a pro colorist by any means. I think it simplified the process in order of trying to get a film emulation with my footage. and I can see myself using it in the future for sure. So one of the main pros I found when using Dehancer for myself was the fact that it's quite easy to use. For beginners or someone who isn't exactly advanced when it comes to color grading tools, I think that Dehancer does a great job in terms of simplifying the tools and helping you get the image that you want without overcomplicating things. I did also enjoy the variety of film stock options that Dehancer had available, and I did appreciate the way that everything was structured within Dehancer. I think it's very purposeful and intentional the way they've laid out all the options. I do think that the layout of their software is a perfect chronological order of steps for those looking to color grade film emulation. When it comes to the cons of Dehancer, I couldn't find very many to begin with. One of the main cons that I found, however, was the price of Dehancer. Currently, a lifetime subscription to Dehancer will cost you about $449 US. Now, I do think that $449 is quite a lot to pay for when it comes to a software, but I do think that this goes to show that Dehancer isn't made for everyone. I think that if you're someone who might not be incredibly advanced when it comes to color grading but still wants a high quality film emulation, Dehancer might be something for you to consider. If you're someone who's a bit more advanced when it comes to color theory and color knowledge, I would say that you might be able to get the look that you need using the native tools within DaVinci Resolve, for example. But even then, Dehancer could be a great tool for you in terms of speeding up your workflow overall. And yeah, I think if you're someone looking for consistency and convenience, then Dehancer might be the exact product for you. Also, if you are someone who wants to test out Dehancer for yourself, I do actually have an affiliate link below in the description. That way you guys can get 10% off if you do decide to try out Dehancer for yourself. Anyways, that's my experience with Dehancer for you guys. Honestly, I did thoroughly enjoy using Dehancer, and I can see myself using it again sometime in the future. They also do have an iOS app now. Though I haven't touched it, it does exist, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, that's about it for this video. See you guys next time.